on the solution God has already provided for you. And enjoy it. Go through everything, because you shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever and ever. And in fact, goodness and mercy, which are two angels that always follow us, shall follow us all the days of our lives. I'm Frederick Njiri, and today is a Tuesday. We got great things prepared for you. We got Your Faith today coming up at around 9. And then later on, we'll have Manukato at around 2 p.m. Beautiful music and interviews will be going on. Meanwhile, let's take a look at what happened. Activist Boniface Mwangi was released on a bond of 1 million shillings after being charged with unlawful possession of ammunition following his Saturday evening arrest at his home in Lukenya, Machakos County. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations officers apprehended Mwangi for what they say is facilitating terror during the recent June 25th nationwide demonstrations to honor victims of last year's deadly protests against proposed tax hike. DCI claimed they searched his house in Nairobi's Hurlingham area and found 2 unused tear gas canisters and a single blank round of ammunition, calling it evidence of Mwangi's involvement in acts intended to cause public disorder and fear. Additionally, no terrorism charges were pressed against the activist. Instead, the Director of Public Prosecution charged him with 2 counts of possessing ammunition without a valid firearm certificate.
If the court will allow us to those bail terms, then we will easily have the good gentleman, Mr. Boniface, enjoying his right to liberty, and then we can prepare a defense when the court will give us a convenient time to come before it. From the side of the DPP, I thank them. They have not yet made any objections to bail. And if that remains the case, then we'll be eternally grateful for their kindness.
All for upholding the provisions of Article 3 of the Constitution, which obligates every person to defend the Constitution, uphold it, and respect it. His definition qualifies to meet the tenets described under Article 3. And having been a defender of our Constitution, the defender of our democracy, the defender of our rights, it's now his time that the same rights reciprocates by defending him. He's a man who fits the bill of being admitted on personal bond. His antecedent is unquestionable. The place of a bond, the police knows. They were there on Friday. They know where he comes from, where he hails from. He goes to Tanzania and comes back. That means it's not even a flight risk. He defends all of us, including yourself, by holding Article 3. I finally say that he's a freedom fighter. Please grant him the ability and the liberty to proceed fighting for our freedom.
Tunakuomba tafadhali kumwamuru Bwana Mashira na mwenzake Bwana Kiani watupatie stakabadhi zote ambazo watatumia kwenye hii kesi. Tuko tayari kupambana na wao.
So basically, I'm hoping that we're also going to see the other people who had been charged with terrorism, people who participated in the demonstrations, being released. I hope that is going to happen, or the cases are going to be dropped, because basically, as you can see from here, there's literally no evidence. Now, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has tore into his former boss, President William Ruto, accusing him of defrauding Kenyans through a legacy marred with corruption, extrajudicial killings, and unfulfilled promises. The former deputy president, who's on a tour of the United States, did not hold back, saying the President William Ruto has sunk the country to an all-time low of mismanagement of the country's resources and lies. He officially launched the DCP satellite, which will be open to members of diaspora to join his party.
William Ruto, I have seen when you were in Machakos, you have said that the opposition have no policy, have no sera, and you need to know how they will improve on your policies and your programs. Mr. President, it is not possible to improve most of your programs. Your biggest program is lying. We obviously cannot improve on it. We want to bring a new government to put an end to lying. Mr. President, your legacy is abduction. How can we improve on abduction? We shall bring an end to abductions. Mr. President, your other big legacy is killing young children. How can you challenge us to improve on killing young children? We shall stop it and never allow it. William Ruto, you have done so well in corruption. How can you challenge us to improve on corruption? We can't, of course. We must bring an end to corruption in our country. William Ruto, you have done so well in destruction of institutions of oversight. You have captured parliament. You have captured all institutions of oversight. How can you ask us to improve on destroying institutions? We will restore institutions so that they can provide oversight. Parliament will be independent. Judiciary will be independent. All other organizations of oversight will be enhanced and funded. Of course, it is mannerless for you to ask us to improve on raiding the payslip.
You know, I'm starting to ask a number of questions, including the opposition has been saying a lot. Not that I support either President William Ruto or the opposition, but I'm starting to ask myself, they need to come up with an agenda. They need to tell us, okay, this is not working. This is what we are going to do to get it to work. Because after a while, what Wamunyoro has been saying is going to become a tired thing, right? I mean, we are going to have heard it so many times that it no longer makes sense. So they now need to shift to the next gear, which is to tell us, okay, this is what we are going to do. We are going to do away with SHA and SHIF. And in its place, this is what we are going to put in place. We are not going to implement this housing thing, but in its place, so that you guys can have the ability to own your own house, this is what we are going to do. As in, we need to move from just blaming and throwing stones. I know President William Ruto's government has not performed. I mean, what was expected to be done by now has not been done. Maybe it will appear later. Maybe it's been foundation, they've been laying the foundation and stuff, but not much has come forth that can be able to impact the lives of the people. You know, like when he came in, cement was almost around 600 and something. Now we're talking of 1,000 shillings. So we need the opposition to tell us, how are they going to stabilize the economy? Do they have an economist among them? How are they going to do it? Not just criticizing. The criticizing has been going on for a while. We need to get now to the solution bit. Having said that, a Kibra Magistrate Court has ordered the Kenyatta National Hospital and the Nairobi Women's Hospital to avail medical records of a man suspected of having committed 2 murders at the Kenyatta National Hospital. Principal Magistrate Daisy Mutai has also ordered the suspect Kennedy Kalombote to be detained at the Kilimani police station until Thursday, when the medical report is expected in court. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations is seeking to detain him for 21 days to allow for further investigations, a move strongly opposed by the defense. Kalombo Tole was arrested after investigations linked him to the murder of 2 patients at KNH, including a gentleman called Edward Maingi.
That there is conflicting information as to whether the respondent had been discharged from Kenyatta National Hospital or not. And the court has been given information that he is continuing with treatment even after he had been arrested. I'm making an order for a medical report to be availed from Kenyatta National Hospital on the treatment of the accused person, of the suspect, whether he'd been discharged or not, and whether he was continuing with any treatment. Let me also get a report from Nairobi Women's Hospital, Hurlingham branch, as to the treatment of the suspect up until now. This will help the court to make an informed decision.
You know, that guy has a very weird name, Kalombo Tole. Now, I'm told by Alan, Kalombo Tole, in Sheng, it's Kayole. Now, I don't know whether the guy's parents named him Kayole, but he's surely behaving funny, just like his name. Now, the Council of Governors has opposed the decision of the Auditor General performance of 6 counties against the law. Abdullahi said the recent decision to conduct performance audit for counties was illegal because it's being conducted outside constitutional and statutory timelines. Speaking in Mombasa during a deliberation meeting on the proposed model policy on preliminary school feeding program, the governors insisted that the proposed audit was decided without any engagement with the Council of Governors nor the affected county governments, resulting in a process that lacks critical input for a comprehensive and context-specific audit in a devolved system. The Council of Governors is currently deliberating on the proposed model policy on the pre-primary school feeding, which is scheduled for official launch during the upcoming devolution conference in Homa Bay County on the 12th of August.
The issue of audit, my friend, we have no quarrel with the Auditor General. I want to make that very, very clear. But what we're saying is, you know, there's been this politicization of the bursaries matter, right? I don't know who is so determined that counties are barred from giving out bursaries. You know, in an environment like the one we have, where we're saying there's a lot of economic hardship, and we can see that the government of the day is doing its best to improve the economy, because we're also Kenyans and we talk to people in our counties and even in other counties. But there's still many Kenyans who need support to have their kids stay in school. Are we in agreement on that? And what we're saying is, fine, let CDF give bursaries. Question of constitutionality of CDF and whether you know, MPs should be doing quasi-executive work is a debate for another place, not for this press conference. National government gives capitation to those schools. They're even well-wishers, philanthropists who pay fees for children. Who is this person who is so determined that counties should not give bursaries?
Elsewhere, Kakamega Senator Boni Khalwale has asked the government, has criticized the government for shoot-to-kill orders on Gen Z protesters, accusing it of being misguided on the end goal of the protesters. Speaking during the burial of 25-year-old Elvis Musavi, Khalwale faulted the Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen for the remarks he made after the Samba Samba protest. Khalwale has asked government to exercise restraint and allow the young people to thrive in the country.
Murkomen uko na vyombo vya usalama. Mtu mwenye anamdanganya kwamba hawa watoto wanataka kiti ya president, huyo mtu ndio adui wenu. Hawa watoto hawataki kuwa rais. Hawa watoto wanataka kula, hawa watoto wanataka kazi, hawa watoto, they have no interest in your power games. We want you to allow the children of Kenya to thrive. Tuwatafutie kazi, watoto waoe, wazae watoto, waite jina yangu Dr. Boni Khalwale, ndio tujue kweli. Ona maskini, huyu mtoto anaitwa Catherine, bibi ya Elvis. Ni mtoto mdogo sana. And Elvis was a man. Elvis hakuwa mwizi. Elvis alikuwa hustler. Sasa kama hustlers ndio walipatia sisi uongozi, alafu tunapiga hustler risasi, ni kweli tutakuwa na mtu ya kutupigia kura 2027? Yangu leo ni kumwambia rais kwamba kutokana na hii mazungumzo yenye tunasema, kama marafiki zako, kama watu ambao tunakusaidia kazi, wacha mlio ya risasi iishe. Mr. President, wacha mlio wa tear gas ikome. Mr. President, ondoa police roadblocks everywhere in Kenya.
And still in Western Kenya, remember the guy, Natembeya, the Trans Nzoia governor who had been told not to go to his office? Well, he's back. He reported back to his head office in Kitale after the expiry of a 2-month ban by a court in Nairobi. On the 20th of May, Natembeya was freed on a bond of 1 million shillings with an alternative bail of 500,000 following charges of corruption. He denied the allegations. The governor had also been barred from accessing his office for 60 days. Excited members of his county executive and staff welcomed the governor back following the 2-month absence. Natembeya has been operating at sub-county offices where he held meetings and met official delegations. Addressing members of the public after reporting back, Natembeya said his administration would continue working on major projects across the county.
But I'm reliably informed that in all those 60 days, nobody from the ESS actually came to this office. They didn't come here. So then you really wonder why they pushed for me not coming here. And actually there was an attempt then to stop me from working from sub-county offices. So it's basically politics. The matter, of course, is still alive in court. But in the spirit of transparency and accountability, I keep on challenging those honjos at ESCC to really come out and tell the world, like they've always done, when they raid people's homes and offices, to say we went to Natembeya's place and we found this much money, we found that, we found this, and that's why we took him to court. It's a public institution, and we operate under the.
Well, Natembeya has become a thorn in the flesh in the flesh of quite a number of Western Kenya leaders, talking about Moses Wetangula and his brother from ANC, Musalia Mudavadi. He's trying to wrest the kingship of the Luya Mulembe nation from these two, who have been there since Luanda Magere was 2 years old. He wants to take and become the kingpin of that region. and see whether he can change their fortunes. We'll see how this plays out, because he's dealing with people who've been there for a while, so they know their way around. They know how to keep that position. You know, Jesus said that when you go to a place, before you take it over, you have to deal with a strong man. So those regions have strong men, and he has to deal with them if he's ever going to become the kingpin of that region. Let's switch and go to Kilifi County, which has elected its first woman to be Speaker of the County Assembly, a move that has been echoed as a major milestone for women empowerment in the country. Catherine Kenga, who is the immediate acting county secretary and former CEC member of roads in Kilifi County, has now officially taken over the position after Teddy Mwambire was impeached by the same MCAs last month. Kenga garnered 48 out of the 51 votes, defeating 4 other contestants who are also eyeing the seat. Kenga is not only the first woman speaker in Kilifi, but in the larger coastal region, and has set the stage for more opportunities for women empowerment.
Tumefurahi kwa maana wamama pia wanaweza. So I'm here praying for her.
It is very historic that today we have elected a female speaker. It has been a journey. You see where we are from, making sure that we remove the speaker through an impeachment. It was not an easy job. But all along we had a reason why we had to do that.
Tuliangalia menendo yake tukaona iko sawa, heshima yake tukaangalia iko sawa, na bidii yake ya kazi, kwa sababu ni mtu ambaye tumeshafanya naye kazi.
Happiness is an understatement. I think I'm more than happy, and I'm grateful that the members found it fit to elect me as their speaker. Women are going places. That one you should be assured. One is to unite the people. The second thing is to unite the assembly. We have our legislative role. We have our oversight role that we will take with the seriousness that it deserves. And above all, the staff, their welfare, their well-being, even for the members, is paramount in my administration.
Oh my goodness. It's a very good thing that, Kilifi has decided to elect a woman speaker. Let's see how that plays out, okay? She looks like a lady who has grit. It's not a woman you can just push around, eh? All right. Now, grief has engulfed Kakamega Boys High School following the death of a Form 3 student whose name was David Owino Oduor, which occurred on Sunday evening while he was playing football with his classmates. Now, according to a statement from the school principal, Julius Mambili, the student suddenly collapsed and was rushed to the Kakamega County Referral Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Although the official cause of death has not yet been known, it is reported that the deceased may have had a heart condition. A medical examination is expected to be conducted to determine the exact cause of death. A postmortem will be done.
Jina lake ni David Owino Oduor, mwanafunzi wa kidato cha 3 B. Kabla ya hapo hatukuwa na habari yote kumuhusu ambaye ilikuwa inaweza kuwa ilichangia, kwa sababu kulingana na rekodi zetu za zahanati ni kijana ambaye amekuwa na afya ambayo ni nzuri. Hata tulipoangalia rekodi yetu kwa admission register hakuwa na shida yote. Kama kawaida watoto hucheza mchezo. Alikuwa baadhi ya wachezaji wa timu yake ya Form 3B wakipambana na a combined team. Kwa hivyo mpira ilipo cross katika football aliruka juu akahead na huo mpira ukamiss kidogo, mwenzake akafunga bao nyuma, lakini yeye aliporudi chini akasimama kidogo, akarudi hatua 2 na akacollapse. Kwa hivyo ilikuwa tu hivyo, hakukuwa na physical contact kati ya yeye na wenzake, hakukuwa kwamba kulikuwa na anything ambayo inaweza kuwa ilisababisha.
officers from Kakamega Police Central visited the hospital and established that the said student had succumbed due to the injuries he sustained while he was playing football. From those who were playing together, they were alleging that the boy had headed a high ball, and having jumped high, he came down and fell. And that is when he became unconscious and he was rushed to hospital. It was around 12:30. The report was made at around 15:05, and immediately officers went to the hospital, established the same, that the boy had succumbed.
Yep, it's newspaper review. And today we start with this, the Daily Nation. And what does it say? Eyes on the judiciary. Eyes on the judiciary. It says the government has been accused of weaponizing the justice system to intimidate and silence dissent. Now, our state turns heat on critics. Judicial independence in the country is facing a litmus test following calls by the executive to mete out harsh penalties on opposition politicians, anti-government protesters, and civil society activists, some of who are facing terrorism charges and have been slapped with hefty bail and bond terms over their alleged involvement in recent youth-led protests. Will the judiciary succumb to this push or abide by the law and the Constitution? And then the front, you still there, you have the face or the picture of Boniface Mwangi, who was at the Kahawa Law Courts yesterday, where he was charged with unlawful possession of ammunition. He was granted a 1 million shilling personal bail or bond. The matter will be mentioned on the 19th of August for direction. Now, what happens if you don't have the 1 million? Kinaumana. That's what happens. Cult horror resurfaces in Kilifi County. I remember we did this story on Sunday. It's so weird. A body was discovered, and then, as police were investigating what was up, they discovered that some of the people who had been arrested you remember when Pastor Mackenzie was arrested, was taken in because his followers, at least, were basically starving themselves to death. And graves of around 600 people had been uncovered and unearthed in that area, in the Kilifi area. So when the police were basically investigating what had happened to this guy who coughed, they also discovered that some of the people who had been freed or rescued during that time were back, and they were still starving themselves. Actually, there was a family from Siaya which was doing this, and a number of people, they were arrested. And so there are fears that some of the members who are roaming free are actually the ones who are recruiting members and teaching them the teachings of this false pastor. And the consequences are death, because you are told to basically starve yourself to death. If you have property, you sell it, take it there. kuna watu wataitumia, alafu wewe una manyuria. Eyes on the judiciary as state turns up the heat on critics. It may sound strange, it may sound funny, but it's not. It's actually a sad situation because people have, despite the fact that we have scriptures, despite the fact, and I thank God that, you know, it is not everyone who's been given eyes and has, or God has revealed certain things that you and I know. We can easily look at this and say this is a false teacher based on the things he teaches. But there are people who will not see that. And so we won't judge them. We won't judge them at all because probably if God had not opened our eyes, we'd also think that Mackenzie is a genuine minister of the word. Okay? And then we have why governors oppose audit of bursary funds. Why should you worry? If you've used it well, you have no reason to fear. Lakini kama umekula, you have every reason to fear. And then we have a story on former Kasipul MP Charles Ongondowere. And the title of this is Creating Political Dynasties When Elective Seats Are Preserved of a Few. Kenyans have grown accustomed to a familiar trend where relatives seek to inherit seats left vacant by their dead kin. Those seats are not family property. They are not family property. No. Just because you were there, you are a member of parliament and you coughed, does not mean that your child should inherit that seat. No. There's a by-election that is going to come. There is Malava constituency. You remember the legislator, Malulu Ijendi, he coughed, he passed on. His son is one of the people who are seeking to vie for that seat, same as former Kasipul MP Charles Ongondowere. And so what the story is saying is that it's not a preserve of your family. State raises concern as more mothers avoid breastfeeding. Now, ladies, I know you want to preserve that body. I know you want to look the way you looked when you were 16. But there are certain things that happen. You got to breastfeed your child. There's a lot of stuff that is transferred from your breast milk into your child that will protect your child and that will help the child develop so that your child is able to deal with this world. So let your child breastfeed. In fact, the United Nations recommends 6 months. Alice, is it 6 months or 1 year? Alice ametoka kunyonyesha tu juzi na amesahau. It's at least minimum of 6 months. Minimum of 6 months. In some areas, actually, you're recommended to allow your child to breastfeed even past 1 year because they say breast milk is really good. Actually, it's 6 months exclusive on breast milk. Si mtoto amefika 3 months umeanza kumkulisha ugali. Exclusively 6 months on breast milk. And then you can go up to a year. There are people I know who've gone to 2 years. It looked funny, but so now ladies don't want to breastfeed. So mnatakaji? What do you want? They're saying that they're working class and so they don't have time to breastfeed. You can express. I've been in workplaces where you know, there's a fridge that has been put there. You come express, you put your milk there. Just make sure that people like Alan don't drink it. Because there are weird people in offices. Wewe unaweka breast milk, unakuja unapata mtu alikunywa na akaongeza maji. CJ Koome, judiciary prepared for 2027 election dispute cases. Now let me ask you, if you are to be asked about the term of CJ Martha Koome, and you are told you judge her performance, how would you judge her? On a scale of 1 to 10, with the 10 being really good and 1 being really bad, how would you scale and judge her performance? Let me know. Send me on Facebook, I'll read out your response. I don't know, Martha Koome, her performance. If you were to be given the power to elect a Chief Justice, would you vote her back? Good question, eh? Yeah, good question. Property linked to suspect in Eldoret job scam frozen. That's good. That's really good. And then Special Operations Group inside one of Kenya's most elite covert security forces. Now let me tell you, there are 3 things that excite me in life. Number 1, the Word of God and the things to do with God. Number 2, cars. Number 3, things to do with military equipment and the military. Oh, I love that. I really do. I enjoy myself anytime I'm on that. Obviously, I love my family. I really enjoy a pastime in reading and discovering things in such stuff. I really do. Now, there's an AI-powered platform that is shaking up the legal services, making them accessible to everyone. Now, trust you me, right now, if you're living in this age, there's something, the AI has really transformed things. As in, really, really transformed. You go to ChatGPT and the rest, and you just, now what you need to study is how to ask questions and to ask the right prompt. Because literally, ChatGPT will give you the legal, opinion according to the Constitution of Kenya on any particular matter. It will do that. And quite a number of people are using ChatGPT to navigate through so many things. Right now, the use on Google search has gone down as people prefer the AIs to answer them. Because the AI will answer you like you're being answered by a dude. And you get good answers. Now, the back page of the Nation, Kenya gets CAF final node for 2024 CHAN. But CAF Secretary General Veron Mosengo Omba remains non-committal on when tickets for the tournament will go on sale in Nairobi. Unfavorable stadium condition forced Stars to withdraw from 4-nation tournament in Arusha. Kenya coach by Benny McCarthy withdrew from the tournament just a few hours before the opening match against host Tanzania at Karatu Stadium in Arusha. Hawa TZ wanatuchezeanga sana. Tukienda kucheza nao wanatupeleka uwanja imejaa, ni kama walikuwa mpeleka watu wa shamba hapo hivyo. Ina mashimo, it's in horrible state. Wanataka watu wetu wavunjike miguu. The Standard newspaper, interesting headlines, cornered by public. And there you have the picture of Mohammed Amin, who is the DCI chief and director. And if you can remember, he was also one of the witnesses in President William Ruto's case in the ICC. So he's definitely, and I would reward him if I was the president too. If I went to the ICC and he's my witness and I come here, unashughulikia kijana, unampatia kazi. So a flood of disapproval from an increasingly frustrated citizenry yesterday pushed the struggling director of public prosecution to drop the far-fetched terrorism charges against rights activist Boniface Mwangi. The DPP later issued a press statement defending the decision to level such bizarre charges against activists, critics, and the Ruto administration, of the Ruto administration rather, and protesters. After the DCI's terrorism claims against Mwangi failed, the test were dropped from the charge sheet. Kenyans now want the outrageous charges against 37 others withdrawn as well. Murder in ward, mysterious Kalombotole and KNH horror. If you look at this Kalombotole guy, he doesn't look like a guy who can kill. You know, you look at him, he just looks like, doesn't look like a guy who can kill. At least from the picture on the Standard, it just looks like one of those murios you'll get in the streets walking. Strange. Then breastfeeding rate stagnates, putting infants in harm's way. Allah. Government eats humble pie after absurd charges against Mwangi collapse. And then you have now a story on Mwangi, activist Mwangi freed, terror charges dropped. Ground shifting beneath Ruto Raila feet in Western. Interesting read, just check it out. Is it speculation or is it true? Man held for SIM swap swindle using ex-OCS Talam's cell phone. Ish, these guys, I'm telling you, the people who are bold in the wrong way. I mean, these guys are just doing all kind of thing. They are swindling. This guy was swindling people using the phone of, you remember the OCS were Central, Talam. Yeah, he was sending messages, hey, send money. Kimeumana. Wave of unrest shakes schools as learners protest abuse and neglect. And then how China farm got prime city land for free. Hey. The judge ruled that the company had occupied the property for 12 years, hence had acquired it through adverse possession. The 1-acre piece of land was previously owned by another Chinese firm that gradually ceased operation. Now let me ask you, if you find yourself at State House and you've been living there for 12 years. No, sikusema kitu. Rangers charged with fisherman's abduction still on duty. Hey. Former MD 679 million from Ramco Farms. Kenya, South Sudan leaders commit to foster peace among communities. Broken promise, inside collapse of UNOPS or UNOPS Habitat Heights project. Then fury in barracks over KDF lunch allowance cuts. Now, I'd said this was one of the most unwise decisions that this government has ever made. I mean, cutting the allowance and subsidies military when it comes to food. And now the soldiers themselves are being forced to pay for their meals. They never used to do that because it was subsidized. And if they paid, they would pay very little money. Now, and we had said here that this was not going to go down well. Well, beginning August, the National Treasury will deduct the stipend from soldiers' salaries. Military bosses say the move is meant to curb loan commitments on allowances and instill financial discipline. Really? Oh, really? Yeah. Let's see how far the roads are going to be, that is going to be extended. Doctor jailed over terror plot may walk free due to missing court file. The new gaslit republic, when the state blames everyone but self. Yeah? US Senators Trump's new policies pushing Kenya towards China. Then the back page of the Standard, road to Tokyo. Expectations high as Kenya picks world championship teams. Well, we expect miracles. We expect things to happen. We expect to dominate. I can see Geoffrey Somba is watching. Kennedy Jumba Asirigwa, always in the first one. Kennedy is always almost the first person to tune in to watch the program in the morning. Karibu sana Kennedy. One of these days you need to pop in. Nikununulie chai. Hapa kuna chai mzuri sana. Inatengenezwa na a lady called Angela. Na pia Phyllis on Wednesdays. Very nice. Nakwambia ukunywe hiyo chai. You'll never drink tea from any other country. Chai tamu. Chai tamu kabisa. So with that, we got to bring the curtains down in the show and say, we'll do this all over again tomorrow. Remember, 9 you have your faith today, and then at 2 you enjoy Teddy interviewing some interesting musicians and ministers on Manukato. All right, let's meet then.